reduction, Form 13285A. Do you know how many of these Burden Reduction Act, I guess, processes have actually been adopted by the IRS? How many have been submitted and how many have been adopted? I can imagine what some of the submissions you got were, but do you know how many has been adopted?
I do not know the exact number of how many have been adopted, but I know we've had a lot of good suggestions that have come through, and we have adopted it, but I don't have the actual number.
One of the things that the chairman mentioned was the home office deduction. And I know a lot of people that just quit doing it just to keep from being audited or called upon by the IRS. Does the IRS have any proactive, in other words, if they see a certain number of things that are being filed wrong or incorrectly, are they proactive in looking at that administratively to see if there needs to be some type of clarification or change when so many people are doing something wrong or improperly or seem not to understand it?
We do a lot in the area of outreach and education on a lot of issues that we have in the IRS. So we're always looking for areas that we see. If we see that there's an area that people are making mistakes on, and this is particularly happened to be one, the office and the home deduction is one that, looking at the data we have, they get it wrong about half the time. About half the time they get it correct. The other half, they're either claiming too much or claiming too little on the office and the home deduction. So they kind of let us know if there's an area that we need to kind of look at and see if we can make some improvement to. So that's one reason we knew that there was a burden in that particular area. Plus, we get a lot of feedback through a lot of different organizations, external stakeholders. Even people who are claiming the deduction are telling us it's very difficult to claim this deduction to calculate it. So that's why we kind of looked at it and have spent a lot of time trying to figure out how can we do a better job at making this less burdensome. And we spent a number of times looking at it extensively, and that's how we came to the conclusion that for this to really be addressed properly, to really reduce the burden on taxpayers, it would take a legislative change to do that. So that's how we got to that conclusion.
Okay.
That is an example of what we do.
And one final question. I'll make it quick, Mr. Chairman.
No.
What, and this is to all of you, what brings about a rule or regulation change? Does somebody in your office just think of it? Does it come from suggestions? Does it come from legislative action? And I guess it could do all the above. If it comes from legislative action, is there any consultation with the legislative branch to find out exactly what the legislative intent of the law was versus what some person in your office may think it should be? And I know that's a multi-part question, but I'd love to hear from each one of you about it.
I'll start with a quick